Welcome back to the Varkha Cholani channel. Today is the day of question and answers with Dear Varkha. I'm going to answer some of the questions that you have written in with. My brother is undergoing a sexual awakening. I'm not really into promiscuity. I would obviously like him to be responsible. And yes, I would like the girls he's seeing to also be safeguarded. How do I bring up such a delicate topic? Yes, dear sister, today is unfortunately a time in our country where sexuality is looked upon in a very, very contrived and in a very, very poor way. The minute you use the word sex, it unfortunately connotes badness, disgust, and all kinds of negative connotations are associated with the word sex. In fact, it would be fair to say that it has a great taboo, and your concern about how your brother is going to take this forward is a very valid one. So one of the best ways that we look to connect with people who we love and care for in terms of explaining of sexual and sexual practices is to do some self-disclosure. What do I mean? Talk about your own days when you were young and growing up, and about your sexual fantasies, about your sexual attractions, about your crushes. He will see that you have no shame or no qualms in talking about something which is very natural and normal for any young adult growing up. Not only that, tell him that you're happy for him to pursue people who are also accepting of him and who also want the same thing. Because the last thing that we want is for him to violate someone. Of course, we also need to put a caveat there that even though both he and his partner may be sexually willing, today, because of sexually transmitted diseases, he has to be much more careful to see that neither does he contract any disease nor does he give any disease. So, a normal, healthy, open, liberated discussion between you and your brother would go a long way. I am originally from Goa, where I live with my family. I plan to come to Mumbai to study and then work in a few months' time. I will first be staying with my aunt in the city till I find a job. Then I will move out. However, a friend who did the same 2 years back felt liberated but is now being labelled a betrayer. How do I avoid getting into the same dilemma? If you're in an age where you're coming to Mumbai to pursue postgraduate studies, I'm sure you're grown up enough to live by yourself in, of course, not so nice hostel and possibly little cubby holes. I know a lot of us are very uncomfortable staying in cubby holes and very discomforting environments, and therefore we prefer the choice of homing in with families. You have to ask yourself a very, very honest and true question. Do you choose staying in with aunt because you're really strapped for cash, or are you staying here simply because of the comfort that it brings? Of course, we all like to feel liberated, but liberation is not only about getting the career paths that we want and following our goals. With liberation comes a big prize, and that is allowing ourselves to be deprived, discomforted, and not very at ease when we pursue what we want to. What I suggest is, since you don't want to be in this dilemma of being considered a betrayer, talk to your aunt about the reasons why you're homing in with her and explain to her that maybe when you be financially independent, you will step out. But of course, in the meantime, when you home in with her, do see that you're a wonderful, helpful, and a welcome guest. I just married my 4-year-long boyfriend. I have a set of guy friends I grew up around who are a part of my life. Of late, my husband has been getting very possessive. I don't think it's a trust issue. He tries to ape their style, likes, dislikes, thinking that it will impress me, and honestly, it ends up looking quite silly at times. I love him for the way he is, and I don't want him to change. What do I do? Well, what happens usually is many times the definitions ascribed for a girlfriend and the definitions ascribed to a wife can be quite varied. What you would have to step back and ask yourself is it that when you were a girlfriend to your boyfriend, he believed that you were still footloose and fancy free and didn't have any control as such over you, and now that you've transitioned from a girlfriend to a wife, he expects a certain disposition, a certain demurity, a certain status to the way you conduct yourself as Mrs. XYZ. Yes, many a time, many men want a certain stature to their wives, which they really wouldn't underscore so much if those same wives were girlfriends. So you need to pause and check that have his definitions after you sign that paper really varied? And if yes, you need to possibly bring it up to him. Then you mentioned that he's copying your friends and possibly behaving and dressing like them. You need to check, does he feel that you're more appreciative of your friends rather than him, and believes therefore that if he imitates them and kinds of dresses and behaves like them, you will give him some more attention. Many a time when we transition from boyfriend to husband-wife relations, the attention, the concentration, the aspect of maintaining love does possibly shift a bit, and it is that you need to put in mind, which is possibly the reason why he is trying to imitate them, so that he continues to get the attention that you are till now giving to your friends. That's all for today. Please keep watching the Varkha Cholani channel and write in. I'll be happy to answer any of the questions that you would have raised. Thank you.